Hello everyone, I'm Jim Burnick from Icertis.
Hello, and my name is Matthew Wolf. I'm a partner with PwC.
So Matt, let's explore how contract intelligence can help insurance companies in the reinsurance business.
Yes, absolutely. So I think one of the important parts of reinsurance, to understand it within the broader context, is that the reinsurer plays a very important capital role within how insurance is placed. So frequently we will all know what we call the primary insurer. These are the ones that spend billions of dollars doing advertising on the Super Bowl. But at the end of the day, while they take a lot of that risk, some of that risk actually shifts to the reinsurance companies who are more likely than not on the retail basis you have never heard of before. So you can think of them almost as like the equivalent of the bond market versus the stock market in terms of equity. The important part for the reinsurers is that they have to make really key decisions in very broad terms around how is the performance of the underlying insurance market going to be, and then how do they bring that capital to the right providers. So it's a really important part of the market that may not necessarily be the focus of everybody. With that said, in the context of basically life cycle management and contracts, everything within insurance fundamentally, again, is a legal construct. So what we have is we have the primary party, which is the reinsurer, and then we have the counterparty, which is the primary insurer, and really understanding how those contracts are structured, whether it's a facultative or a treaty reinsurance. At what point does, for example, if there's a catastrophe loss, does that actually trigger a reinsurance contract? These are all important elements. Today, historically, they're done very manually. They might be actually still in Excel files. They might actually be just sitting in pieces of paper and emails and things like that. And so when really significant events happen, it tends to become a very legal and manual process. And so again, incorporating these things into good technologies that can support it will bring better insight into the frontline underwriters as well as the risk managers that sit within the insurers.
And Matt, in staying with that theme with reinsurance, how about between the reinsurer and the agency?
Yeah.
So what are some of the challenges they face today, and some of the opportunities, I guess, that contract intelligence could play a role in that relationship, that fundamental relationship?
Yep. So fundamentally within the insurance market today, we are still somewhat old school, I will say, which is not a criticism, it's maybe a statement of fact. Very frequently what happens is the counterparty, so between the insurers and the reinsurers, and in some cases the brokers in the middle, they will actually be moving documents around, which is called our term is called a bordereau, and basically you can think of it as a fancy Excel file. So as I was saying before, how this part of the market tends to be very manual. There's really not a lot of, I would say, advanced technologies that have been brought to bear here. But when we talk to our commercial insurers in particular, this upfront placement piece, as well as this kind of day-to-day management around premiums moving back and forth, as well as claims, today they understand that it worked this way for the past 50, 100 years, and that's been fine. But now we really need to advance as an industry and really automating and basically taking these documents, making them electronic, using proper things like APIs, using proper things like AI to understand pattern matching. These are all important differentiators in the market. And so I would say we're seeing some nascent innovation here, particularly in the reinsurers, mostly coming out of Europe. But certainly what happens in the reinsurance market tends to spread more broadly. So I think if I'm sitting here in the domestic market, I'm kind of looking to see where that goes. I would say the discussion here in the next 5 to 10 years is going to be everything's going to be much more advanced in this particular area.
Interesting. How about AI?
So I think AI ultimately, our PwC's view around AI is that you really need to use the right tool for the job. There are many AI tools right now that are very well established. Those are explainable fundamentally, so that's important. We are in a very highly regulated industry, as we all know. And so anytime we're using AI, we need to be very careful. We have to have good governance, and then we have to be able to explain it to a regulator, right? That's kind of our base standard of using AI. There's been lots of discussion around more advanced models, large language models in particular with things like OpenAI. With that said, there's lots of opportunities for those. We are a little more cautious in general because those are very complex and you may not be able to explain every step. With that said, as I said a minute ago, it's really the right tool for the job. Some cases the LLMs will make sense. Some cases the more traditional models that we're all really used to will make sense as well. I think when you look at contracts, where we see that LLMs perform really well is you have large data sets of written language, extracting that out, creating summaries, creating insight out of that. That's a very powerful tool. You can also do things like identify risk words, for example. So maybe we don't like a term that's put in there. Maybe we don't like a limit that might be in that contract. So it's really kind of taking the work that today you would expect a human to do around reading these very legal contracts, using the AI to surface up some insight. And then in some cases, we might have someone actually do some underwriting review on it. We may go to a referral. So it's using the right tool to basically make people more effective. It's kind of similar to a co-pilot model when you might hear that in the market.
Thank you, Matt. We'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to hear more about contract intelligence in your reinsurance business, please contact us.